Welcome back, my friends, to episode 13 of Beyond Bricks and Mortar. Today I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, Matthew Scott. Now, this conversation was highly motivating and highly inspirational. Most of you have heard me say on numerous occasions that real estate itself is not the thing that wakes me up every single morning, but being able to use real estate as a vehicle for my creativity. Now, Matthew is exactly the opposite. He is in love with this game, and that love for the game makes Matthew fiercely competitive and a force to be reckoned with. In this conversation, we go deep in Matthew's perspective as to what it really takes to create success, how you must be completely dialed in, and that the only way to reach success is to truly put in the work. As always, I'm very excited for you guys to listen and watch this conversation. If you're new here, welcome. New episodes of Beyond Bricks and Mortar are every single Wednesday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else. So now, without further ado, my good friend, Matthew Scott.
So let's start with this. I find that in our business, the business of selling homes, our mindset is often evolving and fluctuating. Sometimes it's lifting us to new heights. Sometimes it's really dragging us through the mud. So my first question to you is, what is it you're finding is on your mind nowadays? And what would you say is your current mindset as it relates to the work?
That's a really good question.
That's what we're here for, to ask the good questions.
That's awesome. So I was thinking, what is he going to ask? I don't know what he's going to say. But what I would say right now, I'm driven, like more than I've ever been throughout my career.
Yeah, that's pretty evident.
At this point. I just love the work that I'm doing. I feel like I'm coming into my groove. Fortunately, I'm at a place in my career, but also too just in my journey that I'm only working with people that I want to work with. But, with the law of attraction in the universe, that's all that's coming my way.
Yeah.
So it's just people that I want to work with, people that understand who I am, the value that I bring. Is something that's extremely important to me. But right now, I am so locked in on what I'm doing. I just want to be great.
Yeah.
I want to be great. And so that's what I'm focused on right now.
Yeah, you said the law of attraction in the universe. So how are you kind of creating that attraction? Like, are you doing like manifestation exercises? Like,
yes. So I believe in manifestation, but also too, I believe in you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And so I do the work. It's about the work that we do when people don't, the stuff that people don't see.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm locked in. Like, I think people can see some of the work that you do on the outside. And at times you'll get those accolades and the praises and people will notice it. And I'm grateful for the acknowledgement. But personally, I'm always thinking to myself, and my wife knows as well, but like the work I do outside, the work that the people don't see.
Yeah.
Like that's the real work. Like they don't see when I'm at a property at 12 o'clock at night getting it prepared, or I'm up late in the morning, or when I'm putting my money into making sure that a property looks the way I need it to look.
Yeah.
Because maybe the seller doesn't have it or they don't want to pay for it. But I know it's in the best interest of selling the property. It's in my best interest. It's in my client's best interest. Just the work that you don't want to do. Even when you're wearing a nice suit.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that go into it. And so
that's why Suit Supply is so great. Because,
awesome,
it's a great value and you could beat the shit out of the suits.
Exactly.
It's like I used to like run around in Xenia suits, and then I'd be like getting into the cab and like the seams ripping in the pants. They're too delicate.
Yeah. So Suit Supply, I like Suit Supply. I've been with them for some years, and then I have some custom ones. But you only bring those out when it's time to close.
Yeah.
There's always time to close.
There are special suits and there are everyday suits.
On point exactly.
Yeah.
You get it, Ariel.
Yeah. So you're talking. What you're talking about, what you're really referring to, is kind of like the common theme in this business, at least right now, at least over the last, how long you been in the business?
9 years.
All right. So I'm like 12, 13 years.
Okay.
So we're about the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like over this course of this time in our career is when like content really blew up for real estate, and like real estate agents became celebrities. And it's like almost like what happened to the chef. You know, the chef became a celebrity all of a sudden, right? So, but to your point, and I've said this before on this podcast, is that people really just don't see what it takes to succeed in real estate. They think it's all glamorous. And sure, like most people believe that deals fall through here and there, but it's more like what you just said, like you're in properties at midnight preparing them, you're spending your own money, you're making capital investment, you're putting your everything into just getting these deals done, almost to the point where even when it's a 6-figure check at the finish line, sometimes it doesn't feel like enough.
True. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, yeah. But I think for me, I get the most gratification out of just having my clients happy. Yes. At the end of the transaction when they're like, thank you, Matthew. That thank you text or just seeing them in person. For me, that means more. Obviously, the check matters. Like it's important. Of course. Yeah. But
money is really a consequence of the work we do, more so than like why we do it.
Exactly.
Because if it was really why we do it, then nobody would stay in real estate. It's too fucking hard.
It is hard. It is hard. But no, you hit the nail on the head. I think for me, I always say, for me, making money is the natural offset of providing great service and doing the work. So I expect to make money. I'm going to always make money because I do the right things and I do the work. Yes. You can't cheat the game.
No.
And so I believe if you put the work in, and the one thing I love about real estate is I remember when I first started real estate, and in the beginning, sometimes you can feel like you're putting in a lot of the work and you're not seeing the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, it takes time.
But it takes time. But when you get in that groove, like there'll be some things that you'll see it's the fruits of your labor that you put in year 1 or year 2.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like it's falling in your lap, but actually you work for those things to put yourself in that opportunity to be successful.
Yeah. You ever go to like a golf driving range?
I haven't been in a while.
All right. Well, but you've been.
Yes.
So the idea is like you show up and like you get a bucket of balls and you take like 12, 13 swings and like your balls are spinning all over the place. They're not going, but then when you hit that ball sweet, there's good. Like, I don't even fucking golf. But like it really, really feels good. Yeah. So that's what I'm reminded of listening to you speak about it.
When do you feel like in the industry that you found your groove?
It took me 5 years.
5 years, okay.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, there were mistakes I made along the way. Like I think, for example, when I first started, I didn't join a team. I really was independent. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of time was wasted. I could have spent more of that time under like direct mentorship to really try to accelerate my success. Mm-hmm. And that's the approach I try to take as a team leader. It's like, listen, it takes a long time to build success in this business, but what my goal is, my intention, my mission as a leader is to accelerate that for the people that work with me. But, you got to put the work in. Like you say, you got to show up and you got to put it in. It's really like, it's such a missing ingredient in so much of this business. And, listen, like I'm an Orthodox Jew, right? I believe in God and I believe that God provides. But it also says in the script that we have to put our effort in. And then God provides.
That's the part people forget.
Yeah, it's like you can't just sit around and wait for it to come to you.
Right.
You have to get after it. And if you do it, like you said, with good principles, and you do it the right way, the ethical way, then everything will fall into place.
It'll stand the test of time.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
never have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to worry. Like it's going to stand the test of time. You're protected.
Yeah.
You're protected. Do you feel like by not joining a team when you first started, do you feel like you would be in the same spot you're in now, or do you feel like you would be further along?
It's hard to say because I think like once I did hit that 5-year mark, then my success started to really accelerate. Maybe I would have more transactions under my belt. Maybe that's like the only thing that really comes to mind. I think at this, now that I'm thinking about this, like I feel like everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to, right? Like there was a moment in time when I just realized that going all in on my strengths as a creator and, deploying my creativity in the work through making video and really going deep on the marketing, like I feel like that's something that I realized at a specific moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I would have realized it if anything was different, you know, because there was a moment in time where I was considering really walking away from the business, and then like becoming like creatively charged is what really kept me in it, you know. So
yeah, I think you're one of one, and I tell you that all the time. Like
I appreciate.
Yeah, I think you're one of one. Like you have great energy, but also too the way that you move in the business. I think you see people. We know the brokers. We know the brokers are.
Yeah.
They're jerks. You know, they're jerks. They're just not nice people that you want to be around. You've obviously been someone that I respect, and we've had these conversations before. But I think that's just a testament to what you're building. You know, what you've done and what you're building. And I think, you know, just continue to keep moving how you're moving. And so, like, I'm not surprised to see you have this platform, but also to the work that you're doing.
I appreciate that
at 200 Amsterdam and all the other projects.
Yeah, you took a swing at the golf simulator.
I did. We're not gonna say how it ended up. It looked good on video. Let's just say that it looked good on video.
That's funny. Yeah. So actually, my coach, you know, she has this lesson she gives. It's called the 3 buckets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are 3 buckets that we all must fill in order to reach a sustainable success. Those 3 buckets. And what they're called and what they mean are a little bit different, so I'll try not to botch it. But the first bucket, of course, is money. Like we need to make money in order to sustain, especially if we're building business, if we're doing anything entrepreneurial, and real estate is a really good example of that. The second bucket is called fame. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean becoming famous, but it does mean creating recognition for your brand and what you're doing. And that's a big part of what we do as well. We need to constantly be reminding our networks of what we do. Like this podcast, the purpose of it is to be engaging my network on a regular basis in a creative way that is my own. Okay. And then the third bucket is called the peers bucket. It's the respect and the relationships that we establish with our peers. Recently, I heard Ryan say that clients come and go, but the relationships that we create with brokers on the other side of the deal sheet, those are the relationships that last forever. And if you burn those bridges, you just won't be able to get deals done.
True.
And like you said, you know, we know the brokers, there's 50,000 of us on this island. And at the same time, the community of agents that do deals with each other is really small.
Extremely small.
Really small. Yeah, so I appreciate what you said, and I genuinely feel the same way about you. Like there's definitely a uniqueness and a unique energy that you deploy in your business, and you could tell that you are a seasoned professional when it comes to this, and the way you think about the relationships, the way you think about taking care of people. And we recently had this conversation down at Sirhan. We were talking over some sushi rolls about, you know, like this idea, the difference between hospitality and service. Like
I remember that conversation.
Yeah, that like emotional element to it, and that's everything. You know, like selling homes is a lot different than bricks and mortar real estate. It just is. Like real estate is a numbers game, right? But selling homes is an emotional game. And helping people feel understood is like such an important part of the process.
100%. I think one of my best skills is listening.
Yes.
That's one of my best skills.
You're lucky to have that skill. But listen, it's a muscle like anything else. You have to work at it.
You have to work at it. Yeah. And oftentimes I'll hear like agents, they'll ask me that, you know, either whether we're having a conversation, like what skills do you have and so on and so forth. Obviously we all can sell, but I believe that for me, listening, I can hear what my client is saying without them having to say it. Or sometimes I can sit back and you have to really listen to what they're trying to say because sometimes they don't want to say it.
Yeah.
But by having the ability to listen and kind of figure things out, you can kind of move one step ahead.
You could see them.
Yeah, you can see it and understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it works because I'm not looking to be judgmental. I'm not judgmental. I don't, truthfully speaking, a lot of the stuff I don't care about. There's maybe 4 things that I care about.
What are those 4 things? Hey, listen. You walked right into that one.
Yeah. But I mean, there's things like if someone's like, oh, well, I'm doing this or whatever. Like, it's like, okay, I'm not here to judge someone. Like, I want to shave off half of my hair or whatever it is. Like, do what makes you happy.
Right.
I don't put the energy into pop culture or what someone else is doing. But The things that I care about, obviously, like I care about my family.
Yeah.
My family being number one, my wife, my daughter, and then my family. I care about real estate. It's funny, my wife says that too. She's like, Matt, you just love real estate, which I do. Like, I love, it's all I talk about.
You love the game.
I love it. I love it.
Well, you're competitive by nature, are
I
you
am
not?
competitive. I used to play sports.
Well, that helps.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a very competitive person. Okay. So for me, like, having something like this is very important in order for me to, like, be able to sustain, is having a creative outlet.
Nice.
But you as a competitive person, like, that you're lucky to have that. That's a very, like, that'll really drive you forward.
Yeah, thank you.
If you really want to beat the rest of us.
I'm extremely competitive, but I played football, ran track and field, played baseball growing up.
Yeah.
So just ultra competitive, but competitive. I'm at this stage, I'm competing with myself.
Yeah.
It's different. When I was younger in high school and in college and playing sports, I was competing against everyone else.
Right.
But then when you get into the real world, you get into real estate, where I spend a lot of time, solitude is my thing. So I spend a lot of time with myself, but I'm competitive with myself. I'm looking to be the best version of myself. I'm not looking to be competing against this person or that person, because I believe if I'm optimal Matthew, if I'm the best that I can be, what's better than that? I can't be your best. Is not going to be my best.
Absolutely.
Or and vice versa, and anyone else. And so I'm really competing with myself. So every morning I wake up, I say, God, let me be a better man today than I was yesterday.
Right.
And if I just focus on getting better every day, I'm just going to continue to get better.
Yeah.
And so
that sounds like a discipline exercise. Mm-hmm. Like, competing with yourself means, like, the challenge is discipline. It's a challenge for all of us, for sure. Like, how many times do you, like, when I go to the gym, I'm in there at 5:30 in the morning. So, like, how many times do this little alarm hit 4:45 and you're like, fuck that.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But discipline is so important in this business. And that's what I tell a lot of younger agents, or just agents, not even younger, just new agents, seasoned agents, that ask me that question all the time. It's like, what do you do? It's really about the discipline, because you don't have to clock in.
Yes.
You're not clocking in.
Yeah.
And it's not a job to where you just show up and you make money. You have to be able to put the work in. And so you have to be disciplined and know, like, this is what I need to do to get to where I need to go.
It's all on you.
It's all on you.
You know, like, you can do whatever you want as a real estate agent. Yeah. And I tell this to my team members too. Mm-hmm. It's like, listen, I don't care if you have 3 jobs. I'm not asking you to devote your heart and soul to me. As long as whatever the work is that you're committing to gets done, I'm happy. Like, do what you want. I want my team members to succeed according to the thing they love, like, in parallel with the thing they love. Like, Johnny loves to be a DJ. Like, that's his life. He loves to do that, and I try to tell him, like, build that. That's what's going to create, like, grow your network, and that's what's going to create more opportunities in real estate. Right. Maya has a dog treat business. Like, grow that, interact with more dog owners, like, give them free treat samples. Like, that's what's going to get you through the door and create more opportunities in business, and you're going to be doing it through the thing that you love, which is, like, your passion for dogs.
Yeah. And I feel like when you do that too, it doesn't feel like work sometimes.
No, it does. That's the whole point.
Yeah, real estate doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah,
it just doesn't. I love it.
Yeah,
like, I love it to the point where it does not feel like work to me, so I can do it. Like, I remember at one point in time I worked for maybe like a month and a half straight, and my wife was like, Matt, you gotta, like, she's been really good for me as far as in, like, just life, obviously, but even on my real estate journey, just helping me keep things in perspective, because sometimes I can be so locked in. Like, I'm the type of person, if I lock in on something, like, I'm like, it's just about this. Yeah. Right. For sure. And she's helped me smell the roses.
That's great.
But I believe ever since, that was in 2020, ever since I started smelling the roses, I've noticed that my business has been better. I feel better. Life is better. Yeah. Everything is better. So we need that time away to do the things that we need to do outside of real estate.
How long have you been married for?
It'll be 3 years. It'll be 2 years in July.
Nice, man.
Of this year.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great. I'm married, coming up on 6 years.
Wow, nice.
I have 2 daughters. So I feel like we're a little bit similar in that we're both, like, girl dads, and girl houses,
Yes, yes.
and it's a nice thing. But yeah, like I feel extremely fortunate to have my wife. She really understands me, and she also understands when I need to focus and lock in. She never gives me shit about my work. And she also helps me smell the roses when the time is necessary to do so.
Absolutely.
So it's so important when you're locating your partner in life to really consider these things.
You have to.
You have to. You have to be a little bit selfish in that process.
You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah. No, I just think about, and I'm sure you can relate. Like, sometimes you come home after a long day and you can just forget like how challenging the day was, and you're happy to see your wife, your daughter, your family. To me, that's the real success for me. Like, that's what it's really about. It's just making sure that my family is well and taken care of, but knowing that I can go out, I'm selling real estate, I'm establishing relationships. I thrive off of I love relationships, but the relationship I have with my family and coming home and seeing my daughter and seeing my wife, like that, to me, like, I'm like, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one, it supersedes the check. It supersedes
Yes.
any and everything, because you know that these people really love you for who you are.
And also you realize that when you walk through that door after a long day, that actually we have everything.
Ooh, I like that.
It's the truth.
It is the truth.
We have everything.
Yeah.
Like, we're so worried all the time about what we're chasing and what we're getting after. And that doesn't mean it's not important. Mm-hmm. But when you walk through that door, you realize you have everything. We have our families. We live in New York City. We have great jobs that we love. Every day we wake up, it's a gift. There's a little practice that I try to be mindful of, like right before I walk through the door, is that before I turn the key, it's like, okay, leave the problems, the business, the issues outside the door. Don't bring them inside. Mm-hmm. Like when your home, it's a sacred place. Yeah. So it's like you take a second to introspect on that idea, and like right before you walk in the door, you leave your problems outside the door.
I'm going to practice that.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
That's a great one.
It comes from, like, how Jews kiss a mezuzah before they walk into the door.
Okay.
Like that little item on the door.
Yeah.
So like that's what the mindfulness is when you're doing that. It's like you're leaving the outside world outside. Your home is a sacred place.
I like that.
So let me come back to these questions. But that was a good tangent.
Mm-hmm.
You're originally from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
You graduated from the University of Chattanooga, really growing up embedded in Southern culture.
Yeah.
How did you end up in New York? And do you think New York will be your home forever?
I love New York. New York feels like home for me.
Me too.
I just love it here. People, they ask me, "Oh, would you go back to Tennessee?" I'm like, it's just not New York. To me, New York is the capital of the world. There's no place like New York. I travel a lot too. When I travel, people will say, "Where are you from?" I say New York, and it's like, "Oh, it's great."
Yeah.
I hear someone else say they're from America, and they're like, "Eh."
Yeah, like if you go to Italy and you tell anyone in Italy you're from New York, it's
they
like,
love it.
whoa.
They love it. They love it.
I think it's because of the buildings.
Yeah,
and,
and the culture. But yes, so I'm originally from Tennessee. Went to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. My degree was in sports management and a minor in business management. So I always wanted to work in sports. I love sports. So all that I watch on TV, I don't watch pop TV. I don't watch reality. I don't watch anything. No shows.
No Netflix. None of that.
I don't watch anything. The only thing I watch is sports on TV.
So like when you go home at night and you turn on the TV, what's like your go-to?
I don't
NBA?
I don't turn on the TV when I go home. Yeah. You can, my wife, I'll go home and I'll work, or sometimes I'll just sit there in solitude. And,
yeah, I'm kind of the same. I don't really follow sports. Like I love sports, but I don't really follow because I don't have the head for it.
Yeah.
Just
Football is my one. I love football.
You're a Sunday man.
Yeah, Sunday football. Yeah, right? Sunday. I love it. Are
you like the guy with like your laptop out in the fantasy?
I'm not that. No, I don't play. I love football so much that I can't play fantasy football because I can't root for my team, someone on my team not to do well because I want to win a fantasy.
You're not like a red zone guy.
No, I don't play. I don't play any. I don't gamble at all actually.
Good.
So I don't no DraftKings, no nothing. I don't do anything. So I ended up in New York. So I moved after college. I moved to Los Angeles because I wanted to work in sports. So kind of making a long story short, like got another corporate job, and then I ended up getting I saw that the Los Angeles Clippers were hiring for like their front office sales team, and I had submitted an application, and something was telling me usually to get in you kind of need to know someone, but I was like, I'm just gonna go for it.
They're gonna take me.
I was like, I just know it's my, you know, I just know it's for me. So I filled out the application, and about 2 weeks later, one day I get a phone call from a 213 number, and I remember I was at work and I looked and I answered the call, and the guy's like, hi, you know, this is Luke with the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm calling you because we got your application, and kind of gave me a phone interview, like a small phone interview on the spot. So it was cool. So I ended up passing that, and they offered, they were going to bring me in. So I go in the Staples Center, and they did an interview where it was like 13 people. Like, it was like one part of the interview was like 13. This is like the initial 13 people. So it's kind of intimidating. So like the director's there, and like all these people from the front office are there. And I was like, I gotta stand out. I'll never forget this. And so they're asking us all these questions, and then I raised my hand and I asked the guy. His name was Matthew. I said, hey, Matthew, you know, what is it going to take for me to go to work and put my 2 weeks notice in? Like, I want to know if I have the job. So I was asking for the job on the spot. And the guy, he looks at me. He says, that's a good question. You know what? If you think you got the job, you put your 2 weeks notice in, right? And so I was like, okay. It wasn't enough for me to, like, I wasn't convinced, right?
Right.
But this is one thing I learned. This actually helped me in real estate, so this is why I'm telling the story. So I was like, okay. That was on a Thursday. I think it was like a Thursday or Friday. So the following week, it was maybe like a Monday or a Tuesday. And so I'm at my job, my current job. And I go on my lunch break, and I'm like, Matt, you got to walk by faith and not by sight. You got to walk, like, you got to trust it. And so sometimes we have to walk by faith and believe in things that we can't see, even those things that we can't see, because we know we're on the right path. And so, so what I did on my lunch break, I go to my desk, I type up my resignation letter. I type up the resignation letter, walk back in the office, give it to my manager. He's like, wait, Matt, you gotta finish today. I was like, no, I'm out. I'm leaving. Right. And so, so I leave.
Forget 2 weeks. You were out that day.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. Because I was like emotionally, mentally, I moved on. I knew it was time for bigger and better. So on my way home, the HR manager gives me a call. And she's like, Matt, I heard you're leaving. I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. She's like, oh, well, will you come in tomorrow or Wednesday for an exit interview? We'll pay you. And I was like, I'm thinking in my head, okay, well, I don't have another job yet. So, yeah, let me go. So I go. So I do the exit interview, and I'm sitting across the table from her, just like we're sitting now. She's like, yeah, so you got a new job? I was like, yeah. She's like, who'd you get a job with? I said, the Los Angeles Clippers. I didn't even have the job yet. I was just speaking it into existence.
You're manifesting.
I'm manifesting it. So I'll never forget. So then I go home. She's like, okay, great. We'll pay you. So I go home. I'm sitting in my apartment. It's a Thursday afternoon, and I love music. And so I'm listening to, there's a song by a group called The Manhattans. It's old school, but it's called Shining Star. It's like, honey, you are my shining star. Don't you go away. But anyway, so I love it. But so I'm listening to this song, and now it's lunchtime. So it's time for me to go and grab lunch. So if you know LA or you know California, you know El Pollo Loco. So I'm walking out of my house to go take the trash out and go to El Pollo Loco. My phone rings. It's a 213 number.
I'm Clippers, like, baby.
Yeah, so, like, exactly. So I walk down. I answer the phone. Like, hey, the guy's like, hey, you know, this is Zach Ryan, Los Angeles Clippers. You impressed everyone with the usual. I want to bring you in for another interview, but they were so impressed with you. We want to offer you the job. And can you start? I was like, I was so excited, right? So excited to get the job. I went in there, focused, one of the top salespeople, and then I got recruited by the Brooklyn Nets to come to Brooklyn.
So that brought you to New York.
That's how I ended up in New York. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing was, before I came to Brooklyn, I'd never been in New York.
Wow.
Never even been to New York. I just moved. Yeah.
So how long were you working with the Brooklyn Nets before you decided to jump into something else?
Yeah.
Was it real estate? Was it like an interest in real estate that caused you to leave that job, or did you leave it first?
Yeah, it was an interest in real estate that caused me to leave the job.
Let's hear it. Yeah, because one of my questions here was telling me the story of how you got into real estate to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, so when I was with the Clippers, one of my clients was actually a real estate broker in Beverly Hills. So this guy would spend tons of money right? And so one day I asked him, I
Like
said,
on tickets?
yeah, like tickets, but yeah, courtside seats, and we sell suites, everything,
Nice.
right? So one day I asked him, I said, hey, what's your salary? I said, I know you're a real estate broker. What's your salary? Because he was buying all this stuff. He said, salary. There's no salary. It's 100%. Yeah. He said it's 100% commission.
A lot of people think there's a salary.
Yeah, people think it was like, that's what I love, that it isn't a salary. It's unlimited, income.
There's no ceiling.
There's no ceiling.
There's also no floor.
Right, exactly. Right. But so this guy says it's zero. No, it's 100% commission. I'm like, oh, really? It scared the daylights out of me, right? He says, oh, okay. I thought I wanted to sell real estate, because what I was doing with my clients, I had relationships. These people were spending money with me, but like from all walks of life, people like millionaires, billionaires, whatever. But I had those relationships, right? And so it scared me at that point in time. But then when I came to Brooklyn, another one of my clients was a real estate broker. And I remember I Googled him. It's funny. So I Googled him and I was like, okay, he's selling real estate. He's spending this. And I looked at the properties he was selling. And then I Googled, how much do real estate brokers make for selling properties? And it said 5-6% of sale price. I did the math. I was like, I got to do that. And so, so then I left the NBA and I went and jumped into real estate. And I was with the Nets for maybe maybe one season. Yeah, I was there for a season. And then leaving there and jumping into real estate was like the best.
Which firm did you start at?
I started at it's funny, I started at Compass. Yeah, I started on the team at Compass. And I was on the team for maybe 4 or 5 months, 4 or 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
How'd you find Sirhan?
Sirhan, how did I find Sirhan? Oh, so I was at another firm prior to coming to Sirhan. And then just like having conversations, like having conversations with people, and then also seeing like what Sirhan was doing. For me, I thought that it'd be a good fit for me because I feel like some of the other firms are so similar. Like I've been to, I don't have to name the firm. We all know like the Compasses, the Corcorans of the world, like, I think all great firms. Element, I've never been there, but some of the firms, I think they're all pretty similar. The one thing that I did like about Sirhan is that when you look at Ryan's not like anybody else in the business.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. And Ryan's someone, the thing that I admire about Ryan so much is that he's someone he's been successful. Like he's successful, right? And you can see the work that he puts in, but the guy does not stop. He doesn't rest on his laurels. He keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like when I look at some of the other CEOs of firms and okay, cool. Like they're on vacation here doing I love my vacations too. So don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But I think Ryan's a CEO to where like he's close. You're going to see him. You're going to see him on the regular. Yeah. But we see the work that he's doing, but we see the effort that he puts in as well.
Yeah.
And I respect it.
I feel like he's an anomaly in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Like there's really not very many people that do what he does. Like, and I've said this before, I don't think I've ever met anyone who works as hard as he does. And I think that it took years of consistency and discipline for him to like fall into that rhythm. Mm-hmm. Just like it's just normal for him to wake up at 4 a.m, go to the gym and have his routine and, just never waver from his routine. So, but yeah, I think he's very much an anomaly in that way. It's hard to, you really don't see people like that.
You really don't.
No, especially not in real estate.
Yeah, not at all. And also too, I feel like the thing I love about Sirhan is it's a firm where they want you to be you.
Yes.
Sirhan is as a firm, they're very, very much about, okay, who are you as the person? What's your brand? Okay, be that. Do that.
That's why I
lean into that. Yeah. And so that's the same thing with me. Yeah. Like I wanted to lean into that. I want to be myself.
Yeah.
I want to be myself. I don't want to be, everybody else is taken.
Yeah. I mean, I was at Element for 9 years, mm-hmm. and then I had a 6-figure offer from Compass to come mm-hmm. over to there. Mm-hmm. I was like a day from signing the paperwork. Mm-hmm. And then I got a call from Paul Bologna, who was a manager at Element. So I knew him already. He's like, listen, I'm over at Sirhan now. Mm-hmm. Why don't you just come and meet with us before you make a decision? Mm-hmm. I said, sure. So I came in for a meeting, walked around the building, and then I was like, I'd be fucking crazy not to come here. It just made sense.
Yeah.
So, and I also knew Ryan. We had a relationship already for several years. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, this makes perfect sense. Yeah. So I left the money on the table and I went to Sirhan. And honestly, like, my business has elevated tremendously since I've gone to Sirhan because of exactly what you just said, like being focused on myself completely.
Right.
And focused on my brand and realizing that, you know what, I actually have a pretty good reputation in the business. And now it's time to like milk that for everything it's worth.
Heck
you know,
yeah.
I was with a business partner before, but now it was my opportunity to be all about me and my brand and what I represent. And that was like a very fulfilling prospect for me. So I was really excited about it. And I'm thrilled. I love it. Let me ask you this. In your bio, it says, quote, Matthew loves the pace and energy of the industry, but what he most enjoys is nurturing relationships and being able to help people navigate one of the most significant decisions of their lives. Explain to me some of your principles and your philosophy as it relates to building relationships.
Absolutely. I think one thing that's important for me is bringing value. We have to have value in relationships. Someone who's going to have integrity. My dad used to always say, so my dad was in the military, so we kind of grew up with structure, but my dad would always say, like, your name and your word that's all you have.
Reputation's everything.
Reputation. And so I really, reputation is something that's extremely important to me. And just being, I think people often forget, it's so simple, but yet so hard for people. Just do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
For me,
that's integrity.
It's integrity. But for me, just doing what I said I was going to do, if I said I was going to be there and being there, or if I said I was going to do this for you and doing it, people are like, oh my gosh, because so many people flake.
Yes.
But just do what you said you were going to do.
Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap. I always say, people talk so much. People talk a lot, so I watch what they do.
Yeah.
It's like you can talk, but I'm going to look. It's about action.
That's a Gary Vee thing. He says, like, don't listen to what I say, watch what I do. You know?
Yeah. I think that's extremely important. But yeah, trust is important too. Like, can I trust you? And then the biggest thing for me is energy. Energy's everything. You know, sometimes you just walk into a situation and you're like, the energy may be off.
You have to feel it.
You have to feel it. I have to feel it in my gut. And that's not to say every client or every client that I work with that like I like them or have a great relationship with them. Yeah. That's not necessarily important. It's the business.
When you're selling homes, like, you're dealing with so many different personalities, a lot of assholes.
Right.
But I understand what you mean, that there is a distinction between like liking the person and them having an off energy.
Yeah.
You know, like you could not like someone, but they'll still close, and they'll close with integrity.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. And so it'll be fine, but it has to make sense. I think there's been times where people have called me with an opportunity, and I've walked into a listing or walked into an appointment or spoken with a buyer or a landlord, whomever, and the energy is just like, I'm just like, do I really want to do this? Nah. And I'm past that point in my career to where I would be like, oh, but the money, and I would do it.
You're saying no to things.
I'm saying no. Yeah, I say no.
Yeah.
I say no. If it's not, it has to make sense.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make financial sense, so definitely no. But if it's going to just kind of suck away my energy and my happiness, I'm not doing it. I went through a situation like that in 2017 with the property, and I would never do it again, to a listing to where, the people were very, very difficult, and I was dealing with a situation to where, like, the spouse, the husband was just like tough. It was weird, it was like really weird, but it took a lot out of me. And my wife would say, Matt, why don't you just let it go? Matt, why don't you just let it go? And I was like, no, because I need, I'm thinking about the commission check and the end goal. But I learned a valuable lesson with that. I'll never forget the day I let it go. I was like, day 45 hit. I was like, guys, thank you for the opportunity, but right now I don't think it's gonna be a good fit for me. It was like stressing me out, right? Because I'm bringing like the offers that I was bringing for the property. It would have been like a record sale for price per square foot. It was like a great number. The buyer was like a engineer from Google. Like, I was bringing great offers.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, that's not good enough. Oh no, go get more.
Where was the disconnect? Do you think it was like an emotional attachment to the property?
No. So I'll put it like this. So that one of the partners, I think, really wanted to sell, and then the other one really didn't. And so the one that really didn't want to sell was kind of like the point person.
And so, like, what was the reason that you believe he didn't want to sell? Was it an emotional attachment to the property, or he just believed in the asset and its investment value?
I think that I can't say. I mean, I know. I can't say. I don't want to say it on camera, but
well, we're not giving names or addresses or anything.
But yeah, I just think it's just a place where the person was in life. I think that's what it was. It was where that person was in life at the time, and so because I've seen them since, they're not together anymore. But the one who really wanted to sell acknowledged like the work that I put in. It was like, thank you so much for it. And so like great rapport. You see him every once in a while.
Yeah. So then you're complete with it.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great with it. But not to mention, I was at when I let it go. Then I let it go the previous night. I went to breakfast the next morning with my wife. I was at Tom's in Prospect Heights, and my phone rings. And it's a lady. She says, "Oh, hi. I saw you had a for sale sign. I have a house on the same street. I want to sell it." And so and so. I ended up getting the property, sell it, and now she's a long-term client. So it's like sometimes it feels like you're losing, but you're really not losing. You really have to get things out of the way and make room for bigger and better.
Yeah, it all happens for a reason.
Yeah,
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
love that. What are the elements about yourself that you would characterize as the key reasons for your success? I know you're very motivated. You talked about how you're locked in, you're focused, you have strong discipline principles. But I'll say again, like, what are the elements about yourself that immediately come to mind that you would say are the key reasons for your success at this point in time?
I have character. That's
a good answer.
Yeah, I have character. I have so much character to the point where I don't just do anything for money. I think in our business, you see a lot of agents that will do anything for money, right? Like I won't, the backstabbing is not my thing, right? And there's been people in the industry who have done it to me.
Yeah.
And I know. And people think I don't know, and I know. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm so focused on where I'm going, I don't have time to sit back and like dwell on anything. Yeah. And so I think the biggest thing for me is that I have character, and it shows. When I'm speaking with my clients, or you get feedback from people who give you, they'll tell you. Yeah. People, they'll tell you what they think of you, and even behind your back. And so I think that's that reputation. Like when you hear what people say behind your back, then that's how you know, okay, if you're doing the right thing or not. Because we're in a business to where we hear things, and there's some people you'll hear their reputation is not stellar, and then you meet them, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But so I think my biggest thing is that I have character.
Yeah. And you said that you remain focused, you remain dialed in. Is there like a method to that? Like, for example, I know a lot of people do like mood boards on Pinterest, so it's like when you're looking at your mood board, you can envision your life and what you're going after. Like, is there some sort of visual tool or something that you use in order to keep yourself driving in the direction you want to go?
Yeah. For me, it's the power of positive thinking. It's a game changer. Like, I don't speak negative to myself. I don't speak negative to other people. I don't entertain negativity. There's no negative people around me. And so by practicing these things, negative people don't even enter my orbit. I'm protected. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, like, oh, this person was a jerk. I'm like, can't relate. I don't, that's not what I do. And so power of positive thinking, but also too, I always have my old football coach used to say a quote. He would say, your mind will quit before your body will. And so what it means is sometimes you get tired, it gets tough, but okay, like, are you going to just like tuck your tail and run, or do you kind of, you got to keep rolling? And so winners expect to win, and winners focus on winning, and I'm a winner. And so I expect to win. I expect to win because I'm putting in the work. And because I think positive, and that's what I'm about. So I just practice the power of positive thinking.
Yeah,
it's what I do, and it's worked for me.
In the early stages of your career, was there a financial struggle?
Fortunately, no. Yeah, fortunately, no. Because I had some money saved. But I mean, obviously, I didn't have like the money saved that I have now.
No, of course.
But,
I get that. And the truth is, one of my questions was that you're married, you have a child, you're raising a family in New York City. And has that been a struggle at all for you as a real estate professional?
Fortunately, no.
I think that's because of your mindset.
Yeah, it hasn't been
I feel like I have a few things to learn from you.
Like we have a few things to learn from each other, you know, brother. Yeah, but no, it hasn't been a struggle for me. It's actually been a blessing for me. So I'm someone like I like the pressure.
You work well under pressure.
If it's the right pressure, like I like to put the ball in my hands, coach. Yeah. It's 2 seconds on the clock. Like, and let's let the chips fall where they may, because I got it. Yeah. I got it. I prepared for the moment. And so that's my pitch when I go into meet with a lot of my sellers or my buyers. Yeah. I'm going to take you from A to Z.
You should be a coach, honestly.
People tell me that all the time, but for me, it's like,
it's a great side hustle for you.
Yeah. People say that, but I love what I do so much and who I am. This is so authentic that to monetize it, I don't know if it'll be the same because you booked me to go speak to this person. You booked me. So I got to kind of bring it. Okay. I got to make sure I'm on my A game. But for me, it's just natural. Like that's
what I'm saying. Maybe it's just natural conversation.
Yeah, that's possible. You know? That's possible.
It's like people are paying for only one thing, your time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Anyway, I see you as a good
Thank you. I receive it. Yeah. I receive it.
But yeah, it's definitely hard. You know, it's hard to sustain in New York City with a family. You live in Brooklyn, right? I live in Brooklyn. Yeah, so you know, it's definitely a challenge. And like the more kids you have, the more the expenses go up. You know, my 2-year-old daughter is in private school. She's in a private early childhood program. It's like the tuition's ridiculous. It makes no sense. You know, it's like the tuition would be a lot more if I moved along, a lot less if I moved to Long Island or Gravesend, Brooklyn, or one of these places. But like, it's New York City. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Right. Same. But I feel like that's what keeps us going. For me, I love the hunt. I love the hunt. Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. You know, I love the hunt. And that's the thing I love about real estate is where you got to go out and get it.
Yes.
You got to go and get it. Real estate's been a blessing for me. It's given me the opportunity to
it's the pressure cooker.
Yeah. You know, we own in Brooklyn. We own our home. We travel. Last year I took 7 or 8 vacations. Wow. It's given me the ability to show my daughter the world and show her how small the world is. Like, she can think big. She's exposed to a lot of things. All of this stuff is from real estate.
By the way, I noticed that you travel with your daughter a lot. I literally just took my kids on their first trip to Florida.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that. Yeah. How was it?
It was tough. I guess at this age, it's really it's a lot of work. But
I saw the place you were staying. It was gorgeous.
Yeah,
I saw it on Instagram. That was
we were
nice.
staying in West Palm Beach.
Nice.
You know, I've only gone to Palm Beach twice now. But man, I love that place. Yeah, you know,
it's a good fit for you. Maybe later on in life.
It's beautiful and it's like sophisticated and it's like. I remember one time, the first time I was in Palm Beach, I actually was on a phone call with Ryan regarding a townhouse that we sold not too long ago, and he's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm in Palm Beach." He goes, "Man, Palm Beach is where the oil money is."
Ooh,
you know?
I like
it's like you just walk around and you're like, who are these people? It's a different vibe than Miami. Like Miami's beautiful, but it's also very trashy.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but I think that's a testament to you that you're around the oil money. You're right where you're supposed to be.
I try, try to be. Got to put yourself in the right places.
You're right where you're supposed to be. Yeah, it's always working.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you see our fellow colleagues making in the business?
The biggest mistake is thinking small. Thinking small.
Man, you're spitting fire, man.
Yeah. I just tell the truth. Thinking small, playing small. You got to think big picture, big perspective. I see so many people come into the business and they come in, they're doing it for 6 months, 1 year, and it just doesn't pan out. Oh, give me my basketball. I'm going home. Oh, this is not for me. And they walk away. Or they're in a situation on a team and the team lead doesn't give them its week 12 and you haven't given them a listing or given them a buyer. Oh, the team's not giving me anything. And they start looking elsewhere.
And you think that's rooted in just not thinking big enough?
100%. 100%. Because if you think big and you're focused on you're playing for keeps and you're focused on the big picture, you're going to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. One thing, can I tell you a quick story?
Please.
Okay.
Tell me a long story.
So, it just it's a testament to this. So started in 2015, I'm at a bar one day. So I go to a bar, I'm sitting at the bar, order a drink, and there's a guy sitting next to me. I think he had on like a nice cardigan or something. I was like, man, I like the cardigan. And we just started having conversation. Turns out he had just gotten married, like cool dude, had a baby on the way. We kind of hit it off. So now, long story short, his family and my family, we're friends. But his mom had a property. It's in Brooklyn, and she wanted to rent out a unit. She had a 2-family property, wanted to rent out the apartment. So he calls like, hey, Matt, my mom wants to rent out the space. Can you work with her? I'm like, sure. So I go and meet with her. This is 2018. I go over, look at the apartment. It's like a 2-bedroom apartment in Bed-Stuy, east part of Bed-Stuy. And so I'm like, okay, this is worth $1,900. Put it on the market, have the marketing come in. I showed it a couple times. There was this 1 bedroom that was green. It's like a forest kind of green type of color. And she was supposed to paint the bedroom. But maybe a week or 2 had gone on, and she didn't paint the bedroom.
You're supposed to paint it for the sake of the listing or for the new tenant?
For the sake both. For the sake of the listing and for the sake of the new tenant, right? So it's supposed to be painted white, didn't paint it. So I'm like, hey, is everything okay? Like, you want to talk? It's like, yeah, everything's fine. I'll do it tomorrow. Came back another day, wasn't done. It's like, hey, is everything okay? So we sit down, we have a conversation. She says, Matt, I thought that I wanted to rent the apartment, but when I bought this home, I always wanted it to be a family home, and I never wanted to rent it out. So I don't think I want to rent it out anymore. And I was like, no, that's totally fine. Like, I want you to be happy. She's like, I'm sorry for wasting your time. I know you spent the marketing. I was like, it's okay. Like, I want to make sure you're good. It's
the right reaction.
And that's how I genuinely felt.
Yeah.
So then her son calls me. He's like, Matt, I know you spent the money on the marketing. Can I give you the money back? I was like, don't worry about it. I just want to make sure your mom is good. Fast forward, 2020 comes. So that was $1,900. Maybe the commission would have been maybe $1,900, $2,000.
I feel like I know where the story's going.
Yeah. So 2020 comes. Phone rings. Ring, ring, ring. Hey, Matt, I think I want to sell my house. I'm like, oh, okay. Can I meet? So I go meet with her. She's like, yeah, my brother said that he had a broker, but I told him Matthew Scott is my broker. So she calls me, wants me to sell the home. Great. So I go in. I end up selling the property. Made a $60,000 commission on that, right? It was a direct deal. So made a $60,000 commission on that. But if I would have been worried about the $1,900 commission, I would have never got the opportunity to make the $60,000. It gets better. Then her son, who's my friend, I helped him and his wife buy a house in 2021. Gets better. Then I helped his brother and his wife buy a house in 2022. So the me not, throwing a hissy fit about the $1,900 rental that didn't go through gave me the opportunity to sell $3.4 million worth of real estate.
Damn.
You got to think big. You have to think big.
Yeah. You also have to trust that everything will be fine.
It is always working.
Walk away from, if the client wants to walk away from the deal, trust that there's a reason why this is happening. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it always works out. And I believe that even when it feels like, because we've been there, even when it feels like it's not working out, it's actually working out.
It's actually working out.
It's not working out the way you want it to work out, but it's working out.
Something's happening.
Yeah, something's happening.
Something's happening in the universe.
Yeah.
All right. So without saying names, you recently let someone go after only a brief stint on your team. Without divulging names or anything too revealing, what went wrong there?
It wasn't I don't think there's anything that went wrong per se. Great kid, great human being, driven, hungry. I think the only thing was, I just need you to figure out if real estate is what you really want.
Right. Well, where I'm going with this question is I'm trying to understand what's important to you as a leader, and why, after a brief stint, you chose to let someone go. It's not that I'm looking for necessarily a specific reason as much as I'm trying to understand what are you looking for as a leader.
I think the biggest thing was that he wasn't locked in. Person wasn't locked in.
Was it what we're used to seeing, like a belief that it'll just come your way?
I don't think it's so much about coming your way. I think it's just that, like, I know what it looks like. You know what it looks like. You've been in the business long enough. You know what it looks like.
You can tell when someone's motivated.
Yeah. And so I think
attention.
for me, I'm so locked in to where, and like, guys, let me tell you, because a lot of you guys DM me, you call me, you want to take me out, whatever, and you talk about wanting to work with me. If you are not locked in, it's not going to happen. I don't believe in going through the motions. I will show you everything that I know, and I don't know everything. I'm still learning as well. But with that being said, too, I'm going to show up every day, and I'm going to put in the work. And that's what I think that's the big thing. A lot of people don't want to put in the work. We've seen TV. Yes. You see TV. You see Instagram. They think if you go get you a nice suit, get you some red bottoms, get a nice purse, and get your real estate license, you just start making money. It does not work like that. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. You have to put the work in.
Yes.
And when you put the work in, though, real estate is a beautiful industry when you do it the right way. And we're not even at least I know for me, and I'm sure you can attest to it, we're not even at our best versions of ourselves.
No, we barely scratched the surface.
Barely. We're chapter 2.
A decade is nothing.
That's it. Yeah. We're chapter 2 right now, and so, but yeah. Just being locked in. Like, you gotta be locked in and not going through the motions is something I think is extremely important in anything that we do.
Yes.
In anything that we do. There's a certain level of passion and respect that you have to bring. You can't cheat the game. Real estate is I was going to say a sport, because I look at real estate as a sport. But to me,
it's a contact sport.
Right. It's brutal, right? But real estate is a sport too. You cannot cheat the game. What you do in the dark is going to show up in the light. And people don't realize that. If you're not putting in the work in the after hours, when the lights come on, you're going to freeze.
I like that. What you do in the dark will show up in the light.
It's going to show up in the light. If you're not putting in the work, I remember when I first got started in the business, the one thing I did, I remember some of the best advice I got was like, okay, Matt, where do you want to sell? I was like, I want to sell everywhere. He's like, no, pick a neighborhood. Pick a neighborhood to start there. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to start with Bedford-Stuyvesant. I started with this one neighborhood, and I used to walk through the neighborhood. I used to put on a nice suit. And I would walk through the neighborhood, walk up and down the streets, because I was looking up the comps and seeing what properties sold for this and what sold for that. I was like, well, why does this one sell for this one and that one sells for that? But then when I went on, I saw the blocks. I learned what the money blocks were, right? So I learned the streets. But another thing, when I was walking up and down those streets, people saw this guy. They're like, this guy with a suit on. Excuse me, sir. Like, what do you do? I was like, oh, I'm a real estate broker. And I started having a conversation with these people. It helped me. I never got any business from any of those people, but it made me comfortable with speaking about myself as a real estate broker. And I think a lot of agents don't really understand, like, that's something that we have to, like, get comfortable speaking about yourself as a real estate broker.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it until they sell the $3 million property. It's like, no, you got to tell people from day one.
I still struggle with that one, because I feel like there's a pretty negative connotation that comes with the word broker. It's like, lawyers, contractors, brokers. It's like the three most hated categories of people that exist in New York City. So it's like, people ask me what I do. I usually say I sell homes. Like, sometimes people get what I'm saying, but like one time, it's like someone like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I sell homes. He's like, so you're a broker? So I'm like, yeah. So it's like, I feel like I try to escape that term sometimes.
Really?
But maybe I should just embrace it.
Embrace it.
More.
Because you're no one is you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 50,000 brokers, but like I told you before, you're one of one.
Yeah.
So like, stand in that,
Yeah, people have asked me this question before, like, are you ever afraid of giving away like trade secrets? And my answer is always no.
Same.
Because at the end of the day, like, no two chefs cook the same dish the same way. So it's like, I can go buy Thomas Keller's cookbook or Gordon Ramsay's cookbook, but I'm not going to be able to cook the way they do with the French Laundry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're one of one. But honestly speaking too, when I think about it, there's brokers I've met throughout the business, and I was like, oh, this person reminds me of this person. You don't remind me of anyone.
I appreciate
like
that.
You're one of one. And so we man, let's stand in it. Like, yep, I'm a real estate broker. And
you
met that person.
When I need some encouragement, I'm going to start giving you a call.
My line is open.
I love that.
My line is always open. But yeah. But no, like, I love it. I love saying and I bring, to your point though, I find a way to bring it up in every conversation that I sell real estate.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you know. I don't care if we're at the gym, wherever we're on vacation. I'm going to let you know that I sell real estate. I need
You're
you.
a good networker.
I need you to know that, And so, and I've gotten a lot of business that way because someone knows someone that knows someone. But if I built a rapport with you, and we've been chatting for 10 minutes, and then I let you know I sell real estate. Oh,
Yeah.
And then they'll
you don't drop it right away.
Nah,
you gotta
like,
work it in.
Yeah, because you want it to be authentic too. I'm not gonna force it. There's times when I haven't said anything too, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
I sell real estate.
I love that. So understanding some of the challenges that you were faced with moving to an unfamiliar place and entering into an unfamiliar career in that unfamiliar place, what is one piece of advice you give to everybody who's looking to get into real estate? And I feel like you've touched on this already, but in case there's something else that comes to mind.
Yeah. I think when you want to get into real estate, I think the biggest thing is like
what if it was someone else coming from Tennessee? Like, I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to go to it's my first time ever in New York. I want to get into real estate.
I think for starters, when you're first getting into something like that, your focus has to be so intense that people think like you're crazy. Like you really have to like lock in. You do. And be a student. Like be a student, be coachable. And be willing to listen.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Be a student.
Be a student, be coachable, and be willing to listen. But also, too, like, don't play small. You can't play small either. Because sometimes, like, some people, you'll put yourself in a situation. Like, you got to know if you're too big for a situation, right? Like, okay, so for me personally, when I came into real estate, I was like, I noticed what I want to do. I didn't have a plan B. There was no plan B. I was like, oh, this is going to work. Like, because I'm going to give it my all. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at it. We're going to sink or we're going to swim. There's no other option. But by doing that, I gave myself the opportunity to really kind of like take it all in and not be focused on what's not working or what's behind me or what am I missing out on. But sometimes I think we have so many people that come into real estate. It's like they're 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I always tell people, I think people look and see what we can do in real estate, what people do. Like, they see what Ryan does, they see what you do. They see anybody that may be having some success in the business. And they're like, I want that. Part-time effort or part-time job, whatever, equals part-time results. I think it's important for people to know that. If you're working real estate part-time, you're only going to get part-time results. If you give it full time, if you give it your all, then you will reap the benefits from it. I think real estate is such an industry that's been glamorized. We see people on Instagram to where like they glamorize it to the point that and they get a lot of views and a lot of likes, whatever, but that stuff doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really put money in the pocket.
Put money in the pocket. It's like, okay, what are you really selling? Like, what are you selling and what are you making? Ariel, I don't care about what it looks like. I care about what it is. Yeah. And I say that I never want to be famous. Results. I don't want to be famous. I don't. But I want to be paid. I want to make a ton of money, but I don't care if anybody doesn't know my name outside of like real estate, whatever. But that's what it's really about. It's about the results, not caring about, does it look like I'm going to do this? No, like they just put in the work. And sometimes you got to get dirty. And maybe you're not selling the $20 million. I haven't sold a $20 million home. I'm going to though.
You're going to.
I'm going to, right? My price point continues to go up.
Yeah,
we're creeping in on that. But I have not like.
You're playing big.
I'm playing big. And I'll still take a rental. Yeah. I'll take it all because I believe there's big bags and there's little bags.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might
taking a small rental doesn't mean you're not playing big.
Yeah. But I hear some people that say they're like, I won't do that. Like, okay, for some people it won't make sense to not to take a rental. Yeah. But if you're a newer agent or whatever and you can do it, sometimes take it off. I'm telling you, I've had some rentals turn into some big, millions of dollars of sales. Don't miss the opportunity because you don't know who you're dealing with sometimes.
Yeah, well, that story you told, that $1,900 rental is a perfect example. You never know. Yeah. You really never know what's going to come.
You never know.
All right, here's my next question. What's the biggest mistake you ever made? You might have to take another sip of that.
Let me take another little sip. Biggest mistake I ever made in life? In life or in real estate?
First thing that comes to mind, my friend.
It's funny though, because one thing I actually think about sometimes, a mistake that I made was not sticking with playing baseball. Yeah, I was really good at baseball.
You think you could have gone pro?
Yeah, I think I could have went pro. To the point like my freshman year was like all region as a freshman.
What
batting
position did you
900, played shortstop.
Wow.
Yeah, play shortstop and
Man.
yeah,
Shortstop.
Yeah, I play shortstop.
You got to be fucking good to
Yeah,
play
and I
shortstop.
play all of it. So sometimes, like, not to say like I reminisce on it, but sometimes I'll even look at like old newspaper clippings and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
it was
there should be like a real estate league for the summertime.
that would be cool, huh?
Wouldn't that be great? Like, and it wouldn't be.
They used to
difficult.
play. They used to. I've heard. I think Corcoran had a team. Compass had a team. Sir, we got to get a team.
Dude, you should be the captain of that team. Man.
I'd do it, man.
Like a
I'd do it.
softball team or something like that.
Yeah,
You know, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I go and play every once in a while. But that's like I think that was the biggest, well, not the biggest mistake, but that's a mistake.
So
that I think
interesting
of.
that's what came to mind for
Yeah.
you. Like, to me, I would think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think you're kind of stuck in a place of curiosity as to what would have been if you stuck with real estate.
That's what it would
if
have
we
been.
stuck with baseball.
Yeah, baseball. Yeah, and I went the football route, and I love football, but it's a contact sport.
Get your ass kicked. And
You're getting your ass kicked, and then like I remember, like I was like, I'm not gonna go to the NFL for this. Like I tried to like play a little college, and summer camp. I was like, I'm not going to the NFL for this. Like I'm not going to do this. I want to have the college
brain
experience.
damage.
Yeah, I was like, man, I was like, I'm gonna go talk to the girls. Like, that's what I want to do. And I'm in college, like I'm single, like I'm not at home, like I want to, have fun. But that's the one thing that I always think about, like, man, what would have been? But everything works out because I love my life now. But like that's that. And then from a business perspective. So the one I would say the biggest mistake I made, and not to be controversial, but
controversy is good.
But for me, the biggest mistake I made in real estate was joining a team when I first started. That was the biggest mistake I made.
Wow, that's really a juxtaposition to what I said to you earlier.
That's what And so I think for some people, it's great, but joining it. So here's my thing. Let me caveat. Joining a team is great if you're joining with the right people, the right team lead who really wants to take you under the wing.
So you just weren't in the right place.
I wasn't in the right position. Yeah. I wasn't in the right position. I felt like I had to go through some things. I had to go through some things that I shouldn't have had to go through when I first got into the business. But ever since I got out of that situation, I've been happy in real estate. Like I love it.
Well, you seem to work well on your own. That's probably why you like tennis so much also.
I love tennis.
I could notice that you love tennis. You're going to the Australian Open.
Yeah. My daughter plays too. But I'm very collaborative. Like I love the team environment. Like I'm a team guy. But
you're a leader.
Leader. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a natural leader, and I think that it has to be reciprocated. There has to be a certain level of respect that's reciprocated. And when that respect's not there, it's hard. It's hard to be, for me, I don't fake well. So it's hard for me to fake like I like something or I like someone if I don't. That's why I always say I don't have any issues with anyone, because if I don't like someone, I just don't speak to you. I'm not going to speak about you or anything like that. Like, it just don't, But that was the biggest mistake I made, because I felt like I wasted some time. Doing that. And that's no knock to anyone else. But then when I went, I wasn't even in the industry for a year before I left as a solo agent. I went to Corcoran as a solo agent. And then from there, we were just riding, baby. Like, we just getting better and better. And I've been fortunate to really have some great managers along the way. Like I think that's just like, it's what we love, what we love to do. like I'm thinking about when I was like, I had Joe Furrer at Corcoran. I had Paul, and I've had some other ones that have been great too. And to your point, I remember when Compass was recruiting me. I almost went, like you know, like almost, but like just really thinking about like my relationship, like the relationships. And I remember one of the managers that called me, and I was like, yeah, this ain't it.
You weren't feeling it.
I wasn't feeling it.
You're an energy guy.
I was like, I'm an energy guy. I was like, yeah, like I don't, you know, like, because I don't want to force it. I don't like feeling. You asked me this question earlier too, and now I'm thinking about it. One of my greatest traits or best traits, you said, is I'm authentic. Yeah, that's it. I'm authentic.
That's very evident.
Yeah, I want to be myself, and I love that I can have a relationship. I can know people, but like our relationship is our relationship. I don't have the same relationship with like someone else because I don't treat other people like anyone else.
Well, I think that's what makes you very effective as a real estate agent, because you are calibrating to different personalities all the time. You know, you don't have to there's no formula to relationships. You have to be flexible. You know, you have to be able to calibrate to the individual you're speaking to in that moment. So I think that's partly what makes you very, very effective.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? That's another really good thing I think for new agents too. You know, you hear people say, "Oh, I want to sell real estate. I want to make my own schedule," and it's like, it's like it's
as
not.
As soon as you hear that, it's alarming.
Yeah.
I want to work in real estate because I can make my own schedule.
Make my own schedule. I'm like,
the right answer is actually I want to work in real estate partly because I value my freedom.
Yes.
And your freedom can take you to a lot of really great places.
Yes.
You know, like having freedom is a mindset.
It is.
If you feel free, you can do great work. But if you're just like, oh, I want to wake up at 10 a.m. every day.
Yeah. That's a great quote, though. If you feel free, you can do great work. Yeah. I love feeling free. And that's what I love about real estate is the freedom. That's I feel like for me, that's the freedom. That's what I'm after. It's the freedom.
You're embracing that
travel,
freedom.
Yeah, to be able to travel and like see the world. But like our clients kind of really dictate our schedule at times.
Yeah.
It's based on like availability of others. We're always like, hey, okay, what time are you available? Okay, I can do this. We're always coordinating. So you don't really make your own schedule per se. It depends on others. But
Matthew Scott, Superfly.
My man, Ariel Sassoon.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Which deal paid for those pearly whites? I asked Chase Landau that question on this podcast. Like, what'd you do for those pearly whites? They look expensive. He goes, they were expensive.
These are my natural teeth.
No way.
These are natural.
You're fucking with me.
No, these are my natural teeth. I appreciate it.
Man.
Thank you.
You're blessed.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, these are my natural. The only thing I've ever done was get braces.
Wow.
Yeah, get braces.
They look like an ice rink.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's funny. One day I was walking into what's the ice cream? I forget the name of the ice cream. Van Leeuwen, the vegan ice cream. And the guy's like, "Oh man, you have amazing teeth. Where'd you get it?" And I'm like, "These are my natural teeth."
You are blessed.
But yeah, I think it's a nice contrast. You know, white and then I'm brown skin, and so
it's great.
We make it all make sense.
I noticed that you're also a watchman.
I do.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with Brandon Bogart about watches because he's also a big watchman. I'm like recently I've become quite an appreciator of timepieces. But I'm curious if there are any like dream pieces you have, or what are some of your favorite watches if you have a collection? Yeah.
So I wear Rolex. I like Rolex. I would say my next watch is probably I'm gonna get the presidential. Get a presidential.
You're a Rolex man.
I'm a Rolex man. I'm classic, man. I'm classic. Sure. I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I like classic.
Can of Coke.
The can of Coke. Like I keep it simple. Less is more. Yeah, and then I like Cartier too. But I like it for my wife. Like I bought my wife a Cartier watch a couple years ago for her birthday.
Beautiful.
So I like Cartier on her. I like Rolex on me. I was thinking about getting a tank. I like a tank as well. But nothing too... A Daytona would be nice as well. Clients, if you're listening.
Like a Panda or a gold one? John Mayer? The green face?
Yeah. No, something kind of discreet. I like it a little discreet.
Like I've seen the gorgeous Daytonas that are on like rubber bands.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. I don't nothing too and like usually I'll wear 36 I'll do a 36 because I don't want
Smaller face.
Yeah, smaller face because the 41 I feel like it's too big for my wrist, but also too I don't want anything like just too too gaudy.
Yeah,
I like it like nice and discreet, but that's kind of I like what I like. I'm not I love watches, but I'm not like I wouldn't call myself maybe a watch enthusiast.
Well, watches is a very personal thing.
Yeah.
Very personal. And I really can't stand when people try to tell you what watch is better than the other. Like, it's very, very personal.
What you like? What do you like?
What do you like? My everyday is a Rolex sub.
Okay.
It's a no-date sub that I got when I was 21.
Nice.
And then, I'm wearing this Hublot that my wife bought me when we got engaged.
Oh, nice.
That was like her gift to me when we got engaged. So this is like my favorite watch in the collection because it really represents something very special to me.
That's a nice gift. I've got you a nice gift. That's a nice gift.
Yeah, no,
nice.
she's a gem. She's
That's
really
awesome.
amazing. I would say I have a few dream pieces. Like I would love to get a stainless royal oak with the green face.
Nice.
Like, that's I really, really love that. It's understated, elegant, but it's really a special watch.
Yeah.
And then if I wanted to pick a real statement piece, I really love the skeleton royal oak, the black ceramic see-through with the moon phase,
nice.
That's because when you look inside some of these watches and you realize how they're made,
The craftsmanship is crazy.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Yeah, so that's that's what I want to look at when I look down at the watch. It's how fascinating it really is.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I think that I feel like in the past couple of years I haven't kept up with watches as much as I used to. Travel is my thing now.
Yeah, I could tell.
Travel, I love to travel.
Yeah,
so
I'm
just
the watches is a nice investment, especially for children, to pass it on to children,
that's part of the reason, the stuff I buy my wife, I'm always thinking, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm always, and you have two daughters, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm always thinking, okay,
all those
I'm
jewels are going down.
the jewelry, the bags, hey, this is going to my, yep. So so
it's an investment.
It is an investment. That's how I justify it. Yeah, it's an investment. Make it make sense. No, that's exactly how I justify it. But yeah, I love watches, but also too, I think sometimes your watch. Not I think I know your watch sometimes says a lot about you.
Sure, it does.
I have people that'll walk up to me and they'll talk about my watch, or if I'm somewhere, I'm sitting on a plane, whatever, they'll bring up, oh, I like your watch. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So
I get a little uncomfortable when people compliment my watch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really I don't like it to be too noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
But oh man, that's a nice watch. I don't know why it makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm always gracious about it. Thank you so much. You know. But it's I also don't want to appear gaudy, as you said.
Yeah.
So
you like when people compliment you about your hair.
Sure.
You got nice hair.
Yeah, sure.
Say something about my hair.
Or the suit. That to me is
suits,
if people recognize that you're well dressed, I like that.
Yeah,
that's a nice compliment.
I like that too. Yeah, that's a nice compliment. Yeah.
All right, my friend. This has been very, very nice.
This has been awesome.
Great conversation. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Thank you for doing this and being here. I know you're a busy man.
Yes. Wishing you a prosperous 2024 and good health.
Amen to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. How cool was that?
That was good.
That was cool.
That was one of the better ones.
Thank you.